2015, another year where men go see a movie about a talking, foul-mouthed teddy bear, and where women go see a movie about strippers. Ted 2 is the sequel to 2012's Ted and reunites Mark Wahlberg, Seth MacFarlane as Ted, but no Mila Kunis. So this time around, Ted has finally married his girlfriend slash co-worker, Tammy Lynn. They're trying to get a kid, but for some reason the government comes in and says, Ted, you're not actually a person, you are property, so you have literally no civil rights. So basically the movie follows Ted, Mark Wahlberg, and their attorney, played by Amanda Seyfried, as they fight for Ted's civil rights. Hey, that rhymes, huh? But, you know, on the opposite side, there must have been somebody who thought, we're wasting our time and effort proving whether or not an anthropomorphic teddy bear is human or not. Why? It's a walking, talking teddy bear that eats, obviously, so that must mean it's human, but I'm thinking about this too far, because really, the plot doesn't matter that much. Now, the first Ted actually came out 1 week before I officially started reviewing movies on YouTube, so I didn't actually get a chance to review this movie. So, in the long run, I liked it. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was a great introduction for Seth MacFarlane into making feature films. I mean, it's definitely his humor, so it's either your thing or it's not your thing, but I really had a good time with Ted. Million Ways to Die in the West? Not so much. So now we have Ted 2, which I was not looking forward to at all. It's like, with comedy sequels, chances are they're gonna suck. I can't recall any comedy sequel that's just as good or as funny as the first movie, and we've had so many examples of where a sequel to a really funny comedy just sucks. The Hangover, Hot Tub Time Machine 2, while Ghostbusters 2 didn't really flat out suck, it definitely was nowhere near as good as the first Ghostbusters. So you could imagine why I really wasn't looking forward to Ted 2. But, surprisingly enough, I laughed hard at this movie. I laughed a lot, and there were points where I just laughed really hard. Most of the jokes actually worked, despite being a sequel. They worked because either they were on point, kind of clever, or it was just something that was so absurd that I couldn't help but laugh. There are also a lot of good elements to this movie aside from the humor. Seth MacFarlane and Mark Wahlberg still had great chemistry together. You believe that Johnny and Ted are true Thunder Buddies for life, and the hijinks they get into, it's great. They play off each other perfectly, and it's funny because Ted obviously is a CG mo-capped teddy bear, and you believe that he's interacting with Mark Wahlberg and Amanda Seyfried, and it's just a lot of fun to watch those guys interact with each other. And speaking of which, Amanda Seyfried, tomato, tomato, is a great addition also. I thought she was better than Mila Kunis in the last one because she has traits that really make her feel like one of the guys and not just the girlfriend that just has to change one of them. She really does fit in with these two guys, and I don't know, it was a lot of fun. There are some issues, though. Some of the jokes just don't work. Some of them you just either fall flat, are too awkward that it's not funny, or it's a running joke that they just run into the ground repeatedly when it wasn't that funny the first time. Like, the big one is how Amanda Seyfried is completely illiterate to pop culture. Like, she doesn't know what the Starship Enterprise is. She doesn't know the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. She doesn't know who Samuel L. Jackson is. Don't know how that works. So it was just like, okay, it was kind of cute the first time. But after a while, it's just like, okay, this is not the point where she just doesn't know these simple things. This is the point where she's downright stupid. There are also a lot of elements that get repeated from the first Ted movie. Because, admittedly, as much as I laughed, there are elements that feel like a retrend of the first Ted. One of those factors is bringing back Giovanni Ribisi as the creepy dad who wanted Ted for himself in the first movie. And I'm like, you know what? I didn't like him in the first movie. I don't like him here. It's just, I mean, there is a reason near the end of the movie why he's in the movie to begin with, but it just feels like he was tacked on. And also, it's a little too long. Unless it's something that's really, really clever, or a comedy that's as epic as can be, like Ghostbusters. An hour and 55 minutes is too long. This movie could have been cut by about probably 10 minutes. 10, maybe 20 minutes. But it just felt like it went on a little too long. But despite the complaints I have, and they are legitimate complaints, what it boils down to is if I'm laughing at a comedy, then it's doing its job well. And if I'm laughing hard, like many times, then I think it's a good movie. And that's pretty much how I feel about Ted 2. It's good, but it's not great. But I have to put this warning out there. If you don't like Seth MacFarlane, if you've never liked his humor and think he's just flat out offensive and not funny at all, then Ted 2 is not for you. Because admittedly, there are some things in there that could offend people, and they should just stay away. But if you like Seth MacFarlane's humor, if you enjoyed the first Ted, or at the very least can tolerate his humor, then you're going to like Ted 2. And that's my review for Ted 2. Leave a comment and tell me what you thought of the movie. If you've seen it, what did you think? Like, subscribe, share me with your friends. And this is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there's only one.